My name is Kathleen Craig, nay Kathleen Maybe. Born in Brighton Township on the third concession of Brighton to Lula and Stanley Maybe in 1922. We lived on a farm where my father and mother worked very hard. They general farming, potatoes, corn, peas, you name it, apples. I had a very happy childhood on the farm. I was an only child and totally indulged, I guess. I had a lovely dog called Buster, and he was my only playmate at an early age. I went to Carmen School, SS number 13, when I was 5 years old, and continued on there until time to go to high school, and did my entrance exams into high school in Wooler, and passed them when I was 11 years old. I went to Campbellford High School because at that point there was no transportation to Brighton, and the school bus from Campbellford would come in to Carmen Road and pick me up. And so that's where there was a brief period when people in Campbellford thought it wasn't worthwhile to come all that distance for one person, and they didn't want to run the bus, so they canceled it. And in that 2-week period, I went into Brighton to school. Can't remember how I got there, but eventually somebody relented and the bus started again, and I finished my education in Campbellford High School. Took part in the art group, and there was a play, and it was a musical. I don't know whether anybody remembers Hector McMillan, who was the mayor of Campbellford, but his father was in the same grade as I was, and he was in this play, and we had to sing this song and do a little dance with it. The only part of the song I remember is, I'm ascetic, so ascetic, at the mooing of a cow I cry. Wasn't a particularly good student. I loved my languages and literature, but math was a terrible problem with me. And I had a trig teacher, math teacher, who called me to the board one day to do an exercise, and of course I was completely oblivious to what I was supposed to do, and he just looked at me and said, "A beautiful but dumb Miss Maybe." And I was a little perturbed at that point, but anyway. Oh, that's way back where I learned to swim on Morgan's Pond. Then it was called Morgan's Pond, and it's now Plumpton's Pond, but my grandfather owned a farm, and there was a pond on it, and I learned to swim on that pond. It was very muddy at the bottom, and the cows also drank there, and children swam as well. And my aunt taught me how to swim in that pond. That's nursing school. When I graduated from high school, I went to Toronto to the Wellesley School of Nursing and did my 3-year course in nursing and wrote my examinations and got my REGN in 3 years and graduated in 1944. On graduation in 1944, I won an award for bedside nursing. And 3 of my other close classmates also won awards. We all lived together after we graduated, and all 4 of us had won an award, which was pretty spectacular. Before I went to nursing school, I guess I did have my car license at that point. But anyway, one day my father came to town and I came with him, and there was a gas station in Brighton right on the corner where the Canadian Bank of Commerce is now. And we stopped to get gas, and a young man was serving gas there, and it was my husband, future husband. I didn't know it then. And he filled the gas tank, and we drove off and went home. And shortly after I got home, I had a phone call for a date with the gas attendant, Harold Craig. And on our first date, we came to Presqu'ile to the dance pavilion. And the dance pavilion was a very exciting place. It was well known in the area. Mr. Grant Quick ran it. He also did the hotel that was across the road. And this dance pavilion had open windows all around it. It was open, and the shutters came down if it rained and whatever. And a very good dance floor. Everybody liked to dance on it. There was a band usually hired by or filled by students, university students for the summer, wanting a summer job. And Mr. Quick was very orderly about who got into the dance floor and who didn't. And you had to pass through a little doorway or opening. It was all benches around the dance floor, so that you couldn't get on unless you went through this little opening. And he knew everybody that had gone through the opening, who'd paid and who hadn't paid. And if you came in through one of the open windows around the other side of the dance floor, he knew that, and he'd go right out on the dance floor and bring the person off. He was very astute in that regard. Then in 1944, my husband and I were married at the White House in Brighton. Married in one of the big living rooms and reception there. 4 children later, under 5 years of age. 1 son and 3 daughters. Lived in Belleville after my husband was discharged from the Army. Lived there for a good many years. The children went to school in Belleville, and my husband's practiced there. Well, we bought a cottage at Presqu'ile when the children were small. It was a great place to raise a family. In the summer, we came out here and stayed, and the children could run free, and you sort of knew where they were. It was a very safe place to be, and when they grew up, they went to the same dance floor that we went to. The girls liked to see the young men when they were teenagers, and it was kind of scary at that point for a parent. Anyway, we always knew where they were because we could go up the hill, and if they were at the dance floor, we could yank them out and bring them home. Anyway, we did a lot of boating, and my husband liked boating very much. He was sort of brought up on the water in Brighton Bay, and he had seen pictures of water skis, but he'd never seen anybody really doing it. So he decided he was going to learn to water ski, and he built his own skis. He made his own skis. He bought a mold and molded the skis so they tipped up on the ends. And after he got them made, he had to learn to ride the skis. So somebody had to drive the boat, and I guess it was me, and towed him behind. And at that point, we didn't even wear life jackets. We had some kind of a little rubber belt that you wore around your waist. And anyway, he learned to water ski, and then the children learned to water ski after we got good at it and bought more skis, good skis, and the children learned to ski. And my husband was instrumental in starting a water ski club in Presqu'ile. We had some good ski shows here. There was a ski ramp, and people would sit on the bank at the hotel and watch the ski show. All the children were proficient in the skiing, and they had pyramids. It was a wonderful ski show. And David, my son, who was a young teenager, could water ski, but he also could ski without any skis. And Mr. Swan, Ike Swan, had a very powerful boat, and he towed David behind it, barefoot skiing. There was a picture of David taken at one of these ski shows, shown on the front page of the Toronto Star.